And we're back. So round two just finished. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Round two was good. We both won. So good games. We can't wait to show you. Before we get into that, as you guys know, this is Isaac's end of the Euro trip.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the big tournament, right? That it's all been leading up to.
Yeah, it's all been leading up to this. Everything's practice for the big games, yeah.
So what do you think of the Open?
I mean, it's something else, isn't it? I mean, like I've played in the World Open in the U.S. before, all these like big tournaments that shove you into a room, and it's just about playing the game. But I feel like here it's a little bit more. And I was surprised they have like water for everybody every game. The views of the room are really nice, and even though it's like a dark room, just the natural lighting from the outside makes it so easy to just feel like you're part of something bigger.
I think people don't realize it if they haven't played in the U.S. just how different the conditions are. Like, number one, in the U.S. you might get a side on one side of the table for your stuff, but never on both sides, right?
Yeah.
Water, there's usually a small water cooler at the back of the room, right?
And it always runs out. Like the position is like the most difficult.
It always runs out, and then they refill it, which is so loud during time trouble.
Right, of course.
And yeah, the pairings, they're done manually in the US basically because they all have to use this like software. They don't use chess results.
Yeah, chess results. I mean, obviously I figured out how to use the site when I played my first tournament here. But I mean, that was it's a huge plus. I mean, to know who you're playing way ahead of the round. I mean, it didn't matter so much for today's game, but I imagine for our game tonight, have a quick look. We'll have some pretty good ideas. So we actually don't know our pairings yet.
We don't know our pairings yet. We're recording this after round two, but yeah, we'll get the pairings and we'll have plenty of time to prepare.
Yeah. All right. So we figured for today's video we'd start out with my game. I played down this round, not Alejandro Ramirez again.
Right.
But I actually thought it was an interesting game. I mean, I thought that he made moves that kept the position relatively equal, but I think for the most part it was just a matter of fluidity. And so here's my second game, and we were talking about what my opponent might play because of course there's no games online, he has no chess.com. He was born in 1947, so we were trying to guess what classical opening am I going to be seeing today. And so you had guessed d4 knight f3, and I thought that he would go for an Italian or a Ray Lopez, get a classical game, pre-computer chess ideas. And so I was somewhat expecting to see this move e4. And of course we were a couple minutes late to the game, and here we go, e4. So I'm like, I'm right, he's going to play the Italian.
Nice.
And so, I could play e5 or c5 here. And I think had it been a different time, I would have been choosing c5. But it's 9 in the morning. I just want a nice game. I want to save some energy for tonight's game. I think that's a more important game. And so I'm like, okay, I'll play e5, and I'll just play principled moves. If you make me calculate, I'll calculate. But we'll just play chess. So if you play the Italian, I can play the first 20 moves and get increments and not have anything to worry about.
Oh, why don't we pause the engine so it doesn't kill your computer?
Okay. So knight f3. I'm expecting this, and fill out the notation sheet, or knight to c6, and I'm looking down, I'm writing the date and my name on the notation sheet, Reykjavik Open 2017. I'm waiting for bishop to c4 to come, and I see a hand land somewhere around d4. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not bishop to c4, and we have the scotch. This was a surprise for me because, I don't really recall the scotch being such a big opening in the 1950s and 1960s.
Yeah, this wasn't even invented until like the 80s or something.
I mean
I don't know.
Maybe invented is a strong word, but maybe because he's an Icelandic player, maybe he only started playing around the time of Fischer Spassky. But of course, I just seen this at my tournament in Budapest. The game started there, knight to c3, knight to f6, and we have this move order. And now he plays d4, and of course we play the bishop b4 stuff. This is, I think, an important difference to our game because, as we're going to see in a second, there's actually an important point here. So, I just play main line here, knight f6. He takes, and I'm waiting for e5 to come. What was I thinking during this part of the game? I mean, when you're playing a low-rated player, are you happy when they try to do something a little bit aggressive? We were talking a little bit about hyperextending yesterday.
Oh yeah, I'm very happy to play this line with e5, queen e7.
Yeah, so this was nothing too special, and there's a lot of new stuff here. I was surprised, when he went for the scotch, because it seems like there's been so much theory developing.
It'd be amazing if you play like queen e2 here, like the new Andraken move.
Yes, exactly.
He's just
Andraken, of course,
booked up through the roof. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be funny.
But he actually surprised me here with bishop d3. And I'm on my own. I'm pretty sure I have this in my file, but I'm not studying this because I'm afraid of it. You know what I mean? But okay, maybe because I've seen it now, I'll have to take a look at my file. Of course, we get a transposition to the game I mentioned before. If here we go here, bishop b4, takes. This is the exact same position we could have gotten if here he plays knight to c3. Because now I can play bishop b4 and we have the same position. And now bishop d3 is pretty common.
Right.
So just kind of like my game with Ale yesterday, where I was trying to figure out what does bishop d7 do. Now the question is bishop d3. Bishop d3 is not. It's not in the same spirit. It's not an immediate queen c8, h5, h4. But I think there's actually a good point here. And the idea is that, okay, if I play moves like queen e7, just trying to follow the dogmatic theory, now you can play knight to c3.
Yeah, it makes no sense with your bishop, yeah.
Right? And so, already in this position, I just have a couple of candidate moves in mind. I think there's the added twist here, though, that you always have to look at e5 and make sure that you're not losing material or something. And I think candidate moves I looked at were d5, I looked at d6, I looked at a5, which we'll talk about in a second. I looked at bishop to c5. These were my main candidate moves. I think anything else is also probably okay. The rook b8 is probably fine, but it just didn't feel natural, right?
Right.
Bishop c5, I mean, at first glance, this looks like a move that should always be okay. So I just can't save this, but I figure, okay, the critical test is d5.
Yeah, I believe this is the main line.
Yeah, as you told me later, this is probably the main line. But of course, for someone who hadn't looked at theory, and I had no idea what white looked at this morning, okay, knight to g4 was what I was looking at with the idea of playing for here, and then bishop to f4. I mean, it just seems like it's not my kind of game. I set out, I wanted to use as little energy as possible, and if I'm trying to recall theory against maybe someone who just booked up on it last night or this morning, what's the point, right?
Yeah, I think black has to be very concrete there. I mean, g5 and h5 might even be the move.
Precisely.
With h4 coming.
Exactly, and with my king in the center against a lower rated player, I don't think that that's my intention today, or at least maybe not against this opponent at 9 a.m. in the morning.
Fair enough. Okay, made a practical choice.
Yeah, and
bishop
so
c5.
Well, yeah, bishop c5. But I feel like even here, like there are other candidate moves that I can look at too. Okay, for one, I can look at d6 if I want to commit to g6, bishop g7. But okay, I think it only makes sense to play g6, bishop b7 if we know that we can play on this diagonal, and I don't think that that's so clear yet. And so d6 I kind of ruled out, so that kind of left bishop c5 and a5. So bishop c5. I'll get to it in a second, but the reason why I looked at a5 was, okay, we keep this option open of bishop to a6, and now if white chooses to play knight to c3, we have this bishop b4, trying to kind of trick my opponent. But I actually thought, okay, castles, what does this a5 move do?
Yeah.
And I think f4, e5 are coming, and because I don't have queen e7 anymore, this is very slow. I don't want to play d6 and block my bishop, so I decided that bishop c5 would be okay, and then I came up with like this little continuation. Wait, no, not immediately here. The first queen to e7, make him find queen to e2. Why not? Why not? Knight d5, here, and okay, now I can play for d6 or d5. I think both are respectable. I mean, the whole point is this king is safe, and this bishop is getting out.
Yeah. I mean, you might have knight b4 also.
Yeah, I also have knight b4. I was looking into this briefly with the idea of hitting this bishop. But I knew that I could play knight b6 and be safe, and I could just consider in this position.
Yeah.
But okay, as it turns out, this was not the discussion my opponent wanted today. He played castles. And so here I have a couple of choices. I can play h6 or I can play d6. I decided that his push e5 is probably more meaningful than bishop to g5. And so I played d6, and I was half expecting another bishop g5, probably with a slight plus for white, but nothing I'm too scared of.
But since you already castled here, I would again suggest h6, g5.
Yeah, I was looking into this. I mean, it's tempting, isn't it? I mean, to play h6, and then g5, but I'm looking at my king, and I'm saying, where is he going to go? And
well, you go queenside,
Queenside?
Well-known stuff. Yeah, so bishop g3, and then I think either, probably bishop g4 makes sense, knight g4 is also possible.
Bishop g4, I looked at this briefly. I thought this was interesting.
And then queen d7 and long castles when the time is right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I mean, it's sharp, but this is the principle.
I mean, I thought I'd insert h6, because, this is a good move to insert, and then maybe I could look into, like, queen e7, and can I activate this queen either here or here, and try to trade off my bishop on e6 or something.
Right.
I was just looking for something simple, But yeah, okay, this is a possibility, but he surprised me again. After, like, a 10-minute thing, I played h3.
h3, and very safe.
It's very safe, but I already kind of got a feeling that, like, the position was asking something else of white, And I wrote about this a little bit in my last article on ChessSummit. The position is equal. I have nothing to brag about. It's like very easy, I think, to get frustrated if you're black in the higher rated play in these positions. Be like, why isn't he messing up? And then just trade everything down and draw. But I mean, one thing that I was thinking during the game, it's one thing if the water in the pot is cold, but it doesn't necessarily mean the stove isn't hot.
I haven't heard that.
So I mean, that was my mentality here. I play h6, and my question for him is, what are you going to do? Because it's actually not so clear, I think, what he wants to do. I mean, for one, he could play king h1 and f4. But if we just castle, where's his break? Because the moment he plays f5, e5 is weak, and the moment he plays e5, his position starts to open up on the dark squares. So I thought White's plans are already very limited. He just played knight to c3. Okay, the obvious idea is to play knight to a4. So for one, I'm just going to play a5. He plays rook to e1, and I had to think for a while here. And around here, I had to start spending about 10 minutes a move because I wanted to make sure that I had enough to work with in case things liquidated. So I played castles here. And the idea was, I thought he wanted to play this with e5.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's the only justification for this rook e1. I actually don't like this move so much. I thought he should have played king h1 f4 and then just sat. But, I mean, of course, this is difficult. But I thought, okay, maybe he thinks he's equalizing. Because I was looking into this line, where you hit both the f2 and the rook. Okay, you can just drop back, and now bishop e3 is a real problem. Because before, obviously, we can't play bishop e3 because of the rook. So, okay, queen d4 wasn't so obvious, but I found this move. And the idea was, okay, if the rook comes back, now I play rook b8, and it's probably closer to equal than black having an advantage, but certainly black should not be disappointed. There's a lot of chess to be played here.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you might even have something stronger at some point, because you always have these bishop h3 or queen d6, bishop h3 sacks. Some of these classic games.
Yeah, I was looking into queen d6 here, but I think bishop f4 is kind of annoying, because it can always come back. I think this is the big problem. And so, I wasn't so sure, but I mean, this seems so concrete. Bishop d4, we're constantly threatening this. No, here, sorry. Here, and then here. And then I just had a hard time finding a concrete, good move for white that didn't, that could solve this move. I mean, obviously, rook b1, I had a little cute idea. Bishop takes c3. But I mean, okay, what do you think?
No, I would take black here. I mean, it's always the classic, your pawn structure is weak, but pieces are so active, I think you have to take black.
Exactly. So
most players would.
Yeah, I think the water's starting to become a little bit warmer here. And my opponent, again, he surprised me. I mean, I thought it's not too late still to play king h1 and f4 ideas if he defends his pawn, but he plays this move knight to a4.
He's really asking for it.
He's really asking for it. This knight is asking a lot. And okay, I played bishop a7, but I actually thought this decision wasn't so trivial. I wanted to play bishop d4.
Yeah, and do c3 and then pull it back.
Bishop has it, right? I mean, this would have been,
no spurs.
This would have been really nice, but I think my problem is that white just plays bishop to c4. And now if I play c5, I could be asking for a lot of trouble. This would not be so fun. Maybe there's a way I can sneak in this knight, but I didn't even want to look after bishop c4. This is, even if I play here, right? Like, okay, only white has objectively improved the position. He just come back to c3, I think, and now it's even harder to play d5.
Yeah.
So I think only white has made progress. So okay, bishop to a7, and okay, if you put yourself in white's shoes, what do you think white's only plan is here?
That's a good question. You have to play c4, right?
Well, I mean, it'd be nice to play c4, right? But now we're blocking this bishop. These squares become weak. But I think it's playable. I mean, I'm just going to play rook e8, queen e7, and slowly put pressure on this. And maybe if the time is right, play either bishop e7 or bishop e6.
Yeah, no, I mean, white is already worse, I think. I
actually thought white's strategic choice wasn't too bad.
To trade the bishop, sure.
Because, I mean, okay, in his mind, he sees bishop takes e3, rook takes e3, and he's coming over. And of course, I can never tuck my king on h7 because there's this cute little check here, right? So h8's not exactly a pretty square either. Okay, maybe there's some attacking chances, but even without the dark squared bishop, right? It's not too bad. But okay, I'm not going to take here, and I had a much more funny idea, which is to play this move rook to e8. And he thought for a long time here before taking on a7. But my idea was that, okay, I thought here he was going to follow up with rook to e3. Right, and this is cookie cutter stuff. We're talking more 1200. But I had an interesting idea here. Rook b7. I'm inviting this move, by the way. I think this bishop trade is now good for me. Because this bishop, it's not clear where he should go, and this is a loss of time, I think, for white. My queen might even be better placed on c8 where I can jump into e6 or something, or a6. But okay, my idea is I want to come to b7, and should he play a move like rook to g3, he actually doesn't have threats. So I can play this move, I'm going to provoke c3, and then I'm going to come back. And now this knight doesn't have squares. I've now moved my rook away from b7, and my bishop can try to think about getting the game. So now c5 and bishop b7, I think, are reasonable. There's probably other ways.
I would take black here, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, can we go back a move? So, this move, before he plays rook e3?
Which he didn't do, by the way.
Oh, what did he play in this position?
He plays e5, which I think is just wrong.
I was thinking about that, because you don't take, right?
No, you definitely can't take. So yeah, he played e5. I actually saw this in my original analysis, and I thought, okay, takes, and his idea is he wants to play knight to c5. But then I saw this move queen e4, and I'm like, okay, he's missing something. But it actually turns out that I was missing something, and I realized this immediately. Okay, what's the problem with rook takes c5, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. This is a really easy move to miss. And it'd be nice to be able to make these kinds of positions work, where c7 is actually protected, but I don't think I can win this game.
No, I mean,
maybe draw, but not win. Not win. This knight is really weird. This is why it's...
Well, knight's coming to c5. But.
Yeah, at the right moment. But, okay, in this position, I do have some tempting. But I, of course, I would never play for this. But of course, just because he's playing this move doesn't mean I'm required to take. Knight d5 actually asks him, what are you going to do? Because now this is a threat. He doesn't have f4. So, okay, he has to take. And now we see why the rook is actually okay on a7. Because now when I take here, he's going to have some problems. I actually thought he would take here, and maybe he would try to offer a queen trade while putting pressure on a5. I'm just put here.
And if he takes?
If he takes where?
The pawn?
If he takes here, I thought I just have a lot of good compensation. I mean, I want to be able to get my bishop in. I want to be able to rook lift. I mean, I hadn't fully thought this through. I mean, I can also trade queens here. I think it'd be okay. I mean, the problem is I just don't want to. I don't want to trade down too quickly where I have this ambiguous kind of 3 moves as well.
Yeah.
But this was always an idea in the back of my mind. I could also, even after here, I can play queen d8,
right,
and play rook e7. Anyways, this is the
knight f4, queen g5.
Yeah, exactly. There's just so many possibilities. Knight f4, of course, is always an idea too, because now this is
beautiful.
Really annoying.
Knight f4.
This is knight to f4. I like that. This is something else. So he plays bishop to e4. You saw my game at this point.
Yeah. This is where I saw your game, and I started calculating rook a7 because of the pinned rook on e1, and I thought black is just winning here because f5 is coming. But unfortunately, he can take with check.
f5, he takes with check. I realized this too. This was quite disappointing when he plays f3. Of course, if I play f5, he takes with check, and I can't pick up 6.
You couldn't just play like maybe king h8? Because I didn't see how he's getting out. Or he just moves the rook to, where? Or he just plays queen d2.
I play king h8. I thought he could play queen d2.
Right.
And now I actually don't have the benefit of being able to win a pawn.
Yeah.
So I chose
knight f6. Yeah, of course.
The idea simply being, what are you going to do? Of course, if he moves his bishop, if he takes his pawn, well, pick up 6.
Just winning.
And so, of course, he has to...
but d5 is coming, right? If not
d5 is coming if nothing is played, of course. And here I decided it's time to eat lunch. And he plays this move b3. Of course, if he moves this knight, which I thought actually might have been better, this queen is coming into the game. I thought I could actually get a nice position here, a model position, because of course in this position, these are my 2 problems, a5 and e6. I thought, okay, I'll drop back, or even better in order, I check first, he plays king to h1, I drop back, and now this bishop comes here, and like in this weird arrangement where I have everything in a line, everything seems to be okay.
I'm starting to see our differences in style, because the only thing I'm looking at in this position is how to sack the bishop on h3 and just bring in my queen and rook.
Yeah, this is possible.
Win the game.
Well, I mean, okay, we don't have to put the bishop on a6 per se. We can put it on b7 and we can target here on g2.
No, it's so slow. I mean, I feel like if you go back a move, after, let's say, queen b6 and king h1, the first thing I would consider is just rook d4 and bishop h3, and then just try.
I was looking at rook d4 in these positions actually, but I think, okay, queen e2. I just don't want to let his queen. Why would I want to let him have any counterplay?
That's one check.
I don't know. I mean,
just take on b2.
Take on b2, huh? Okay, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, this is definitely.
But it requires some calculation.
It's definitely possible. I mean, I should mention here we both have about 15 minutes left for the rest of the first 40
All the
minutes.
more reason to sharpen it up.
Maybe. But I mean, in this position, I'm up a pawn. If I just solve my practical problems, I think then the end game is just winning.
I'm allowed to sack your pieces because it's not my game.
Oh, okay. So I play here. I was surprised a little bit to see b3, but I'm not that surprised because of course he wants to cover b6. And I had to think for a big chunk here because I do have a lot of practical problems. I really wanted to play this move. Oh, this would have been really nice, I think. But I think I have enough problems after here. Because if I play queen to f6, of course, now I have to start calculating, is this a-pawn meaningful if I drop a5? And I think the answer could be yes. But of course, why sharpen things up when I'm already, have a nice game?
You're trying to win.
Do you think you could find my move here that I played here with black?
That you play it?
The most solid possible move,
solid move, right? Okay.
There might even be better. But I mean, the problem, of course, is this knight can come in at any moment. So this is, I think, the concrete problem that black has to solve.
I feel like queen e7 is just good for black.
Queen e7. I was looking at this. Okay, so it takes.
We take back.
Takes. Am I missing something?
Well, bishop h3, it has to be good.
Bishop h3, it has to be good.
I guarantee it's winning.
Guarantee it's winning.
Alright, let's go queen e3.
Queen to e3. Alright. I play king h1.
Yeah, queen f3.
Queen f3 and the rook comes in, okay. What if we don't take this bishop? We just play queen d3.
That's not fair. Okay, you pull back. I mean, you know.
Okay, we pull back, but I
put it on.
I don't want to deal with this. I mean, I already have the majority here, right? You know, I don't want to get him.
Oh, queen d4 you have there.
Queen d4.
After queen g3.
Queen g3, queen d4. Oh, maybe I missed this. Because, okay.
I mean, just like, you have an extra pawn, so your king is automatically safer, and the knight is on a4, and you have the like long what's the word? Long-range bishop.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, this is definitely something. I was not looking in this direction. I wanted something. I wanted something that said, "Okay, your game is done."
Your problem is that you're up with pawns. You're trying to hold on to it.
Well, I mean, I think that the move I found actually solved all my problems.
Okay.
It was this move.
Rook e5.
Rook e5. Okay, immediately I'm defending a5, so my queen is only changed to this one pawn. But more importantly, this is my idea.
Mm-hmm.
And now when he plays this move, I have this. And now, as we see, I've solved all my problems. My rook is actually at a really good square, believe it or not. He plays queen to f4. Okay, I want to trade off one pair of rooks. My idea is I just shut down the file. But tactically, my idea was when he plays c4, I have this sneaky move. And now the queen trade is forced.
Yeah.
This was my whole point. And, okay, let's say if he doesn't trade the queens, which he did, if he plays a move like here, this is coming, and there's too many threats, right? So, of course, he has to take. And so now, for me, I have a dream position with, like, 11 minutes left. Right? This is, like, the perfect position to have with 11 minutes left to make 15 moves, because it's just making all the natural moves. Now, okay, I think at a GM level it's close to resignation, but, you know, for
black is winning.
For our amateur audiences out there, I thought this was an instructive endgame. Because, okay, we're all taught kings seem to be active in the endgame, but there's a tactical problem with this move.
Oh?
Yeah, rook f5. Because you can't actually bring your king into the game. And so I think the best move here is actually to play king g1, so you have the option to play g4, but psychologically, right, it's so hard to go back, so he chooses king to g3.
Huh.
It's so hard, right? Okay, so king to f8, knight to c3, king to e7, and of course these moves are automatic for me. He has no threats in this position. Where did he go here? He played here, and the thing I like about this position, I read one of Andrew Soltis' books, and one of the tips he gives in the endgame section is always look for Zugzwang. Try to find a move here for white that doesn't concede anything, right?
I don't know.
It's really hard. The moment this rook moves, I play rook e5, which happened in the game. This knight, this is not a realistic problem. In fact, I play here,
rook e5,
right? Same thing if he plays knight e2, so this knight can't go anywhere. So he actually has a hard time finding any good moves.
Yeah.
So I think he played the best move, but it gives me a fun time. So he goes here, he plays king here. And okay, this part of the game is the fun part because I just push my pawns, and okay, but I think this is the hardest position of the game for me to find the easiest plan to win. I've got 32 minutes left. This not 32. This is move 32. I've got like 8 minutes left, and it's really tempting to want to calculate this move. And I'm pretty sure it should be winning after a position like this, but I did not want to let this rook get active. The moment this rook gets to the back rank, anything can happen. I've got 7 moves till the time control. So my mentality here was, okay, d5 is probably working, but we always have d5. So my goal was to play 8 moves and then think about d5. So if you've read Agard's positional playbook, right?
Yeah.
What's one of the questions that he talks about with pieces?
Oh, with pieces, what is my worst piece?
What is the worst placed piece? So for black, what's the worst placed piece here?
Well, the rook is weird, right?
Well, the rook is actually doing an okay job because there's no breaks with c5. He can't reach the rook, and I'm kind of covering everything, right? This way, I have full control over the center of the board. I actually thought, okay, maybe the rook is a little bit awkward, but we have an even worse placed piece, which is this bishop.
Oh, so you're improving the bishop.
I need to improve the bishop, right? Because he has a concrete idea. He wants to come here and he wants to attack this.
So bishop f7.
Bishop to f7 I think is possible, but okay, I mean, this is... Now, do I want to put my king on the same file as this rook and allow a move like, you know, a potential idea like c5? Maybe it's fine, but I thought I had a better place for this bishop. I think this is his key weakness, right? So I decided to play bishop to c8. And now the idea is I'm going to come to b7, so if he plays here, which he did not do during the game, I'm going to come here anyways.
Yeah, c5, yeah.
c5 is coming, and even if I don't play c5, d5 is coming. And now I've actually prepared this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait. I'm going to play moves like h5, I'm going to play h4. Block up to this g2 pawn. I'm going to create a weakness here, and his other weakness will be the d pawn in the center, and he's doing, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble, I think. So he played here, I played here. Okay, he's starting to make desperate moves here. So for knight c3, bishop b7, okay, he moves the king out of the way of the check. But now we start to see that this has some ideas. It's important, I think, not to rush this move. because in this position he always has knight b5. Okay, so
Good
this is
start,
an easy move. Like, just 30 more seconds, please. And at this point, he finally passes me on the clock. So he starts to move quickly, and he blunders terribly with rook e1. Sometimes it's easy to think that the minor piece endgame will be more complicated, but in reality, it's far from.
It's pretty trivial.
It's pretty trivial at this point. I mean, I think he needs to find a way to keep some resistance. I thought g3. I mean, at least get off this diagonal was the best way to go. And then I need to, I have the ability to calculate breaks here, and if this knight moves here. So now what I'm going to do, since it's still move 35, is I'm going to figure out where do I want to put my king. Or maybe do I put my king on d7 and then move the rook back. I've got 5 moves. I was not going to make a pawn break before move 40. I just think that's not the disciplined thing to do. But sometimes when you just, and you put the water on the stove, it boils for you. And in this position, he took care of work for me. I think both c5 and d5 are good here, but d5 made more sense. Because now I have a passer. Of course, if he doesn't take, I'm pushing anyways.
Right.
So he takes.
And the problem is he can't set up the blockade because his king's not close enough. Right?
His
Just play king
d6,
d6, king d5.
Yeah. Or in the game I play king f6 because the last thing I want to do is make him feel like he has a second chance.
Oh, sure. And see, that's what I like. I like giving them the feeling. But I would play that anyway. Just play like f4, king e5, d4, and the knight's still cut off from the game. So I would just play king e5 here? Or?
King e5?
Yep.
Here?
Takes an f4.
f4, of course.
d4. And the knight's just totally cut.
Yeah, look how many moves it takes to get back into the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's still on b5. Yeah, okay.
That's how.
And in the meantime, we pick up these 2 pawns.
Right.
Yeah, this would have been nice.
But okay, you're not king.
I'm too cool. I'm too old school for this. King f6. Here, I briefly thought about playing h4 to lock this pawn, but I decided no. Let's keep it simple. He played here. I played here. Of course, if he were to play here, we go to this winning pawn endgame. And so he played here. And the finishing touch in the game, of course, d4. Beating this pawn. There's no way to save this. This is the game. But I thought this was a really instructive game for someone who's like 1800 and maybe gets frustrated against those 1600s that seem like they're holding the position along.
Right.
I feel like in this move, I played the game, but I didn't do anything particularly special, right? And I talked about this again in my article about my tournament in Budapest. Sometimes it's about making the most natural moves and letting white create their own problems for themselves. I mean, if we look back on the opening, we've created so many variations here. It's almost easier to just hit the backwards key. We saw the original problem here where he played this move knight to a4. This was the start of things definitely going wrong. I mean, of course, we talked about f4 as being a possibility, but when he plays this move, not here, when he plays this move knight to a4, of course, we see that something is not, there's no harmony between the pieces, and I just let black kind of create his own problems.
Yeah, actually, this is an interesting game because people struggle against the Scotch 4 knights because it's so drawish, and so black has a tough time making any kind of winning chances here. But no, in this position, once you trade the dark square bishops, it's like white's position just ends up kind of unpleasant. Like bishop on d3 is bad. He has no active plans. You have all these squares and the dark squares. Yeah, it was nice. I wish we saw you be a little bit more aggressive with the sacks.
Okay, yeah.
As soon as he plays h3, I just it's hard to look at the rest of the board.
I mean, I really wanted this to work, but I always thought maybe he'd be in time to play maybe like queen to f3. And
you have to be concrete.
I'm not in a game where I'm willing to lose.
Right.
Once I reached this position, I felt confident that I'm either winning or drawing, and I wanted to keep it that way. If you have the option, you don't have to lose. That's always a good out. But okay, I mean, you mentioned with active plans. I mean, every single move, it felt like white had a different opportunity to have a concrete plan. Like here was bishop g5.
Yeah.
And then even after h3, it was still this idea of playing. Well, knight to 3 is okay, but he really needed to play king h1 f4, but not push. I think just hold there and ask black, what are you going to do? And that's probably closer to
and then queen f3, bishop d2, or k1. Yeah.
Slowly build a position. Ask if I want to trade light squared bishops, which at that point I probably do. But rook e1, and then e5 would have been the logical follow-up, but then knight a4 clearly is no good. Okay, c4, as you mentioned, maybe close to last chance here. But okay, where are we? He played bishop to e3, and he didn't even follow through with this plan, which I thought was a little bit disappointing. That's rook g3. I thought the game could have still been a little bit exciting here. Then we might have seen some piece sacks on my part. But of course, okay, I didn't take on e3, and it was just chess after that.
Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about our game.
That was a nice, clean game.
Yeah. Your game, on the other hand, You want to give us a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's set this up. You had the white pieces today.
I did. I have white against candidate master. He's at 2100. I think he played a good game up until a certain point, but I was more comfortable with the structure we got, and so that played a big role. Okay, so knight f6, c4. He played the Benoni.
Since you don't really see the Benoni that much at Grandmaster level, when you see this on the tournament board, how do you feel? Are you pretty excited, or are you just kind of like, oh, this is another open?
I'm very happy to play the Benoni. I just think like it's already unbalanced. White doesn't have to do anything, and I mean I really like the line I play here with knight to e2 because I'm familiar. Eventually, I'm going to play f3, so we're going to get like a sandwich structure. And I'm very, very familiar with these positions, so I was very happy to see this, actually.
So I guess in the case where usually as low-rated player you have to create your own chances, you kind of get them from the start of the game on move one.
Right, like if he plays the Slav or something solid like QGD, I have to come up with some plan to out-trick him, right?
Of course.
Here, the plans are very natural, and the position's already better for white because of the extra space that it's like, I don't know, I feel very comfortable here. Of course, I also lose more games against the Benoni than the Slav, right? Because it's going to be sharper, but, you know, it's perfectly fine with me. So all these moves we were playing pretty quickly. Rook e8, castles. Here he started thinking for a while, and he played h5, which is like basically one of the main moves. Black doesn't have to play h5, but eventually they do, so he just played it here.
I mean, it's definitely the principal approach of like how to play against a knight on g3.
Yeah.
Pawn on g6, you play h5, h4.
I mean, that's very natural. So I played bishop g5, and here he really went into the tank. So that's great, because I'm still in my book at this point. And white's plan is to play f3, queen d2, maybe rook e1 or rook c1. And then this knight, even if black gets h4 in, we'll just drop back to h1, f2, and I'm very happy there. Or if I get the chance, maybe into f1. But he played queen b6 here, which is in general pretty dubious. I think the best move is the plan that I think Nakamura showed against Anand, or maybe vice versa. Anand showed against Nakamura. Like queen c7, let's say queen d2, knight h7, or not even knight h7, maybe just knight. Well, yeah, knight h7, and then white is always very happy to trade the dark square bishops here.
Of course.
That's the one thing I understand about this line. If we trade the bishops, then whoever queen is on better dark squares has the advantage.
Right.
If black can put the queen on e5 and hold it there, then a lot of times black just is better. But
so what would be wrong here with bishop to h8?
Nothing. I think that's probably the main move. Maybe even bishop d4. White plays bishop e3, and then just go back. And then white isn't going to repeat. So white plays f3. Black plays knight d7. And I think white is better. Rook c1. Rook b8 is black's idea. c4, b5. And then white will play like knight h1, knight f2. Somewhere I'll play b3 or b4, just to use a rook on c1. I think Giri had some game here as well, against also Nakamura.
I mean, I guess here the plus for black obviously is that the queen's not in front of the pawn. So it's not nearly as much of a greedy approach, you know, when you put the queen on b6.
Oh, right. Well, in the game, yeah, we got something very, very sharp. So queen b6 is taking the game into very concrete territory. Now, I played queen d2 here way too quickly, because in my mind, the queen always goes to d2, so yeah, why not, right? But as I realized, one move later, queen c1 here would have been much more accurate for one specific reason. Okay, I played queen d2, he played knight h7, and I threw an a5, which is a natural reaction. Now, if he goes back, white is just up a tempo because this is a useful move. So I just played bishop h6 with the same line. But usually black needs to go back here, that's why this move is dubious. But here he plays queen b4, and with my queen on c1, I would have rook a4 here winning the game. But now he has bishop c3, and I can't do this. So if I just played queen c1, right there, knight h7, a5, queen b4 is not even playable, it just loses on the spot. Rook a4, and bishop d1. And black is lost.
Right, so black's already hard pressed to find moves here after queen to c1.
Yeah, he would have to just go back with the queen, and okay, maybe I'll have to waste the move with queen d2 anyway, but that's not necessarily true. Sometimes I can make it work as well.
I mean, you also had already won a tempo too, so it's something edible if you do have like queen d2.
Right, we just go back to maybe the normal position. But Yeah, once he played knight h7, then maybe I shouldn't play a5 here. I should just play bishop h6. And then maybe see what he does with the bishop and then play a5. So if he takes and takes the pawn, usually white just plays rook c1 here, and then I'm threatening bishop h5 and knight h5, and there's no defense to mate.
This is pretty disgusting.
Or I'm threatening just to like play queen e3 and rook b1 or rook a2 and just trap the queen somehow, or even a5, knight a4, knight b6. It's a big idea for white. So this would have been tremendous. So he probably has to not trade bishops, just play bishop d4 maybe, and then. But now this is an improvement. Now I think I can play a5, queen b4, queen c2, and in the other line he might have the d4 square for the queen. Whoops.
Hopefully not the c4 square.
Yeah, that wouldn't be good. But even if he plays like b5 here, for example, I'll just play bishop d2.
Right.
And I think we were looking at this a little bit after the game. He has to play c4. White plays knight a4. He has to play queen b3. I take, knight b6. And I think white ends up better in these lines. We were looking at this a little bit, like rook a7, bishop f4, and white ends up doing well.
Is there any merit to like a king h1 and f4, f5 idea?
Not in the endgame. In the endgame, I just want to put pressure here or try to play rook c1. In the middle game, definitely. That's one of white's mate's plans. So these lines would have been short, but it's clear to me that white is just doing great here. So I feel like I made like 3 or 4 mistakes in a row. So he played knight h7, I played a5 quickly, thinking that I'll be able. I knew I didn't have rook a4 at this point, but I actually thought I would have another idea, which doesn't work. So he plays queen b4, and now I should play bishop f4 here. And I think black is in big trouble. He can't play bishop e5 because I trade and I play rook a4, and the queen is trapped again. I mean, he can play c4, but the problem is, I think knight a4. And white is again better. He has to trade queens. And now the knight's coming to b6, bishop is coming to f4. Even if he wins the e4 pawn, he can't really take it right now because I'll have knight b6 coming. So rook e4 and then bishop f3 or knight b6. Even if I don't win the bishop on c, I think white's position is tremendous. I mean, knight on b6 versus rook on a7 is worth like 2 pawns.
Yeah,
at least.
I mean, this is the problem with not playing like the natural queen c7 and b7 and b5.
Yeah, this is how black gets caught a lot of times in these lines. Okay, but I'm still trying to trap the queen, so I calculated this line with bishop e3. And he played h4, which I thought was basically the only move. And here I play queen c2. So if he takes, I have rook a4, and he has no way out. And you can get a rook and a minor piece, but it's not going to be enough because I'm going to have knight b6 coming again, and I mean, it's just not enough for black. So I thought he plays bishop d7 here, just to cover a4, and then I'll play knight h1, and he can win a pawn like this. But I feel like I'm going to have great compensation here because this is going to be really awkward for him. So I'll play bishop f3.
Isn't your queen hanging?
Oh, sorry. I'll trade queens. This is first. And I'll play bishop f3. And then rook b1. And then wherever this rook moves, if it goes back, for example, I also have bishop f4.
Ooh.
This is a common idea in these endgames that the d6 pawn always ends up.
b7 is a target too because of the a5 pawn.
Yeah, rook b1. I mean, I think white has more than compensation.
Of course.
I have to solve the knight eventually. But I think white is just in full control. Sorry, I confused this with another line. So that's what I was expecting, and I was happy there. And then comes this move. Suddenly.
No rook a4 anymore.
Yeah, he takes here, right? And rook a4, queen b6. So I just gave black b5 in the Benoni, which is not good. You know, that's why white plays a4 to stop this move.
Exactly.
And now I'm not liking my position.
Right, the a5 pawn looks like a liability a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases he might take it. I'm actually more worried about my e4 pawn now, and just about him just pushing forward. Okay, so I have to play knight h1 now. Now I have no choice. And actually, I had some chances here. I thought he's just going to take the e4 pawn. I think this is critical.
Mm-hmm.
And I calculated some lines here. So bishop d3. If he takes here, I just take on g6. And my queen comes to g6, and the rook is hanging. And then after king f8, I have bishop h6.
Right.
And rook e1. So the pawn is untouchable, and if he plays queen e7, I can either play, I think I just play rook e1 and then pre-move bishop takes g6, basically. Or, I mean, because he has to do something about the discovery, but like he plays here, take, and bishop d4 check. And I win the rook on e8.
Oh, that's nice.
And the queen.
d4. That's a nice move to find.
Yeah. So I was feeling comfortable, and I even thought, actually, if I'm feeling frisky, I can even just take on g6 first. Because after I play rook e1, I don't see what move he can make here. Maybe he has rook g8 here, I wasn't sure. This line I wasn't too sure. I would probably just play rook e1 first before sacking, because after rook g8, if nothing else, I have to take, I think.
Could you play bishop d4 first here?
Yeah, I think I have to play here.
You take the queen and then you play rook e8? I think you're
then he has rook g8.
Yeah.
But I can take here.
Yeah, this is what I meant, sorry. And then play for rook e8 and you're pinning the knight.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure about this one. Because maybe just bishop d7. But I don't know, actually, then his pieces are really stuck.
You play c takes d4 and then rook c1?
Yeah, right, and just everything is stuck, right? Yeah, maybe this is also good for white. In any event, I was going to decide between this or just playing, because I don't see what move he plays after rook e1 anyways, that can prevent, because I'm also threatening just to take here.
Of course.
But the problem with this is that he has the move queen g4, which is less natural, but obvious once you realize you have to defend g6. And I didn't see exactly how I'm going to get full compensation here. If the pawn is on b7, I'll play this any day. Rook b1, rook b6, and I'm very happy. Here, though, I wasn't sure. Maybe I can play bishop f4 here, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, no, but no, I can't, because he has c4. He always has, like... Well,
c4, bishop e4?
Maybe this is okay.
Bishop f3 looks like it could get annoying a little bit.
Yeah, bishop f3... Yeah, it's just hard to protect d6. So maybe white is still doing quite okay here. In any event, I did think that was best for him. But okay, he played something very... He just doesn't take the pawn, he just plays knight d7. So he's playing principal, which is fine. But now I get f3. So now I just like... Even if white is worse here, I'm getting my setup. So knight is coming to f2, I'm just going to be very solid. And I can almost switch on autopilot at this point. Okay, I thought c4 here was critical. Knight f2, knight c5, and I'm still not sure what move I should make because knight b3 is coming. And then he can just take the pawn.
Right.
I still think white gets some play because his knight will be on a5, but to me this looks like the critical approach. So these lines are very, very sharp. At some point black should play f5, but this also weakens his king, so white can play knight h3, knight f4. The knight on h7 is an unusual piece. It's not clear whether it's just passive or if it's going to end up doing something.
Well, if you play knight h3, couldn't you just play like a move like... well, okay, for one, he has bishop takes h3, I guess.
Well, I mean, against f5, white plays knight h3 sometimes to put the knight on f4.
Right. I'm just having a hard time trying to figure out what white... like,
oh, how white improves the position?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like you're kind of stuck a little bit.
Well, ideally, I'm trying to trade the dark squared bishop. So, based on where black puts the knight, I want to try to play rook d1 and bishop d4. I can improve with h3 and then knight g4 also. And if the e4 pawn is well protected, then I can push f4, f5. It really, really depends on black's setup. But it's kind of sharp because here black is getting more than they normally get.
Right.
Usually we get this position where like pawn on b7, queen on c7.
Of course.
And then white has more freedom. Here it might just be good for black. I don't know. I'm sure Stockfish will figure out exactly whether white is getting enough or not. But he played knight e5, which is also natural, but I was happy to see this. I play knight f2, knight c4. He's starting to take here. I have no way of trapping the queen anymore, so I have to take. Queen takes.
I mean, this seems like a good trade for you, though. Your light squared bishop's not exactly a huge player in the game in that position.
Well, it can be an important piece here, though it's not doing much.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm happy to get rid of one of his knights.
I mean, if you look at it, though, he just played knight d7, knight e5, knight c4, just so you could take it.
Right, and I got f3, knight f2. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the right idea. It makes sense because, I don't know, superficially, Black's position looks great. He has the 2 bishops. He already traded off a piece in the Banal, and he got b5 in. The problem, though, is the queen is getting in the way of his play. I think if the queen is on c7 here, then Black is probably better.
Definitely.
Here, though, I'm not sure.
Yeah, where does the queen go?
So now my plan is just to play like rook c1 and just like tickle his queen a little bit.
Right.
Eventually, I want to play bishop h6, h3 again, knight g4. Okay, so he played bishop d7. It makes sense. If he plays b4 too quickly, I have knight a4, knight b6. I play rook c1. And he played queen b3, which I think is a good move. I was kind of expecting him to play b4 here. Because if I play knight a4, he plays queen b3. If I play knight b6, he just plays rook d8. And if I trade, well, then I just wasted 10 moves of my knight to take his bishop, and now he has huge pressure here.
Knight c4, though?
The problem is if I play knight c4, he has bishop b5.
Oh, that's a cold shower.
And I'm pinned up, yeah. Even if my rook wasn't here, I don't really have anything to do with the knight.
That's a good point, yeah.
But my plan was to play, after b4, knight d1. So I'm covering b2. He plays queen b3. And then I play bishop f4. And we actually got, I think, a transposition in the game, but the problem is d6 is hanging. If he plays bishop e5, I'm just super happy to trade the bishops, and then I'm in time to play knight e3 and knight c4.
Right.
Or if he plays bishop e5, I play rook e1, and then knight g4, and then the queen comes in on the dark squares.
Right.
So his dark squares end up being very, very weak. He felt this in the game, so he did something a little bit rash. But he realized that if the bishops get traded, then Black's dark squares are weak, especially since he already pushed to h4. And the knight on d1 is just beautiful, just covering b2, and the queen is just pressing up against the wall, basically. But he chose a different move. He played here, which I think makes sense because it doesn't commit with b4 yet. I had an option here to play rook e1, but I think bishop f4 is stronger. He played b4, which I think he has to. Knight d1.
It's now we get that position if he plays bishop e5.
So yeah, we transpose. Yeah, here I was kind of expecting bishop e5 anyways, but he realized it's no good. And he plays bishop d4, just sacking the pawn, which is principled, but it doesn't really get enough. So I was expecting also bishop e5. So if I play rook e1, then he plays rook a d8. He defends the pawn. He doesn't give up the bishop. And this was my first intention, and I thought after knight g4, I think white is doing okay here. I didn't see exactly what move he makes. I just want to play maybe knight h6 check, maybe bishop h6, maybe even queen f2 in some position, just take the pawn. But I think dynamically he should have enough here. Maybe c4, maybe even f5, I'm not exactly sure. Then I realized that here I can just take on d6 and just sack the exchange. So I get one pawn on d6, and I'm going to get a second pawn on c5.
That pass around d5 is going to be a major player in the game.
Yeah. Then I trade the bishops. Knight comes to e3. I just completely take over.
Right.
And now knight on h7. Now we're realizing that it's just out of the game completely.
You can even argue the queen on d3 is out of the game. I mean, it doesn't actually contribute to Black's play.
Yeah. I mean, I think white has a big advantage here.
Of course.
So I was excited to play this position. Just knight comes to e3, c4. I mean, 2 pawns for the exchange. I'm not even down material technically. So, but okay, he has some chances there. What he did in the game, I'm not so sure. Okay, he plays bishop d4. I took the pawn. He played rook c8. So his idea is very clear. He's just holding onto the pawn. He's not trading the bishops. It's a positional pawn sacrifice.
Right.
But I don't think he gets enough threats.
Yeah, it seems like he's only playing on the A through D files, but he's completely neglecting his king site in the center of the board.
Yeah, and once these bishops come off, he's gonna get messed up a little bit.
Of course.
But I think the real problem for him is that he just can't push c4 because the bishop is hanging.
Right.
And the bishop is now stuck defending the pawn, so he can't even drop back and push c4, c3. Okay, so I started thinking, what's the most natural move? What would Isaac play? King h1, just unpin so I can move the knight. He played bishop e5, rook e1. And at this point, he's really getting into time trouble. It's like move 27. He has maybe 10 minutes left.
Ooh, that's rough.
Really
that's
not enough time. But even with time, I actually don't see how black... I mean, maybe Joe Baba can come up with something here. You know, maybe black just plays f5, but the problem always with f5 is that it doesn't come with a threat. You know, I just take with the knight.
I feel like queen h6 can come with
black. And queen h6 is... Well, actually, that could be one trap. Like, queen h6, black doesn't have queen d5. So this is something I have to avoid.
Queen takes g6?
Yeah, just move.
I have a hard time believing that this is legitimate to look at. I guess e5 is not possible.
Yeah, I mean, white's position can collapse very easily if I blunder this pawn.
Wow. That's actually kind of sharp then.
But against f5, I mean, maybe I don't take with the knight because d5 will be hanging, but I'll just take with the pawn. And then he did weaken himself quite a bit, so it's not necessarily that he's getting all that much from it.
Of course.
Right, so...
It's just you have to be a little bit careful.
But white has to, I mean, black has to, white definitely has to be careful here, black has to come up with some ideas.
In terms of time on the clock, like, how much of an advantage do you have here?
I have about maybe 30 minutes more.
Oh, that's pretty significant.
So, yeah, because the position was so comfortable for me. So even though I blundered b5 earlier, every move after that is still very natural. f3, knight f2, taking the knight, you know, all the maneuvers are very, very common, at least for me. Okay, eventually he plays queen a2, which is fine. He wants to win his pawn back, but now white really takes over. So here, okay, I had my first like real think of the game. And I was trying to figure out, okay, like I have some time here. I can play knight g4, knight h6. But knight g4, again, he plays f5, and if I give check, he plays king g7, and so what? My knight is...
There's no way to open the position on takes f5?
Well, but then the queen is still hitting d5, so he comes back in, then h3 comes at some point.
Yeah, anything.
You know, like, this stuff happens a lot in these kinds of positions. Like,
I think your pawn is a better asset to him than you at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And then now the bishops are controlling everything. I don't have knight f5. This knight is coming. Rook h8 might be...
Was there a way for you to play like bishop e7 instead of taking on g6? Bishop e7 with the idea of queen to g... you can't play your queen to g5.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least now you have this idea of maybe playing for f6. Because your knight does control f7 and g8.
But f6, I think he's covering it. So maybe he just plays h3 here.
There's no way to like play knight f2 and then knight f to g4? Don't care about... Well, I guess your g1 square is covered by the bishop.
Yeah, he's ready to...
Yeah, that's too much counterplay.
And then... No, I mean, if I lose the d5 pawn, it doesn't matter if I'm 2 pawns up. Like,
no, I'm just trying to see if you can get it. That would be amusing.
Well, see, these are the lines I was looking at, like, trying to figure out, like... I feel like dynamically white should be doing just fine. Yeah. But then I realized, like, you know, maybe I shouldn't make it so hard on myself. What would 2600 solid positional grandmaster do? And I remember, like, oh yeah, just trade the bishops. And then black was lost.
Of course, of course.
And the thing is, he can't run away because c5 is hanging. Mm-hmm. Once I found this, I just, oh my god, what am I even thinking about? What am I, like, knight g4? What am I going crazy for? And so this is just, I mean, I haven't checked it with the engine, but I think it's just busted now. Because here, if he goes back, I take the pawn. And he has nothing. So he's forced to trade. He doesn't have any real options. I take with the knight. And now my idea is to put this knight on g4. Queen goes to the long diagonal, and then knight h6 check. And this is an idea I've known for many years because my coach, Akobian, played this game against Jesse Cry, grandmaster, from the US Championship, which was a really nice game where, like, they had a Benoni, they traded a couple minor pieces, and it seemed like black equalized. And then Var just put his queen on the long diagonal, his knight went to h6, and it was just me.
Right.
And then I remember Jesse's commentary after the game, he's like, I thought I was doing fine, and then one move later I'm just like, dead lost. So since then I've always had an appreciation for white in these kinds of positions. And yeah, I think he's in big trouble. If he doesn't play c4, I'm just going to play b3. We're going to fix this square, queen comes to b2. He did play c4, and now I have my choice of wins. I chose the flashiest, because that's how I roll.
Of course.
You know, I could just play rook a1 here. and just take the b4 pawn, and he has no counter.
Oh, that's what I would have played. Without question.
I was thinking, like, I can do this, and he just resigned. Like, now I have these just uncontested central pawns. He has zero counterplay. I'm probably going to win the c4 pawn as well.
This is probably what he expected.
But I'm like, you know, I mean, and then if he plays here, then I just play queen d4, and nothing really changes. His pawns are controlled; they don't really go anywhere. But now, like, I can calculate it till the end. So I played queen d4, and now I just want to play knight g4, knight a6. If he plays queen c7, this was actually an interesting try. If I play knight g4, he might have f6 here. I mean, it's still losing, but at least his queen can come to g7.
Yeah, you just trade down to the endgame and your d and e pawn just roll through.
Yeah, I mean, it should be lost, but I was thinking against this, then I'll just play b3. And c3 I take.
Nice, okay.
Or maybe simpler is just knight c4 and b3. And I think this is resigned. He runs out of counterplay and I'm up one. But okay, he went for, like, he's down on time. I think he has like 3 minutes here. I mean, he has to play c3. Like, what else are you going to do? I mean, he realizes he's losing, but he has to try something. So knight g4, take on b2, and rook c8. So now if he takes, I have check. And so it didn't take long to calculate this. I take the rook.
This isn't that different than your queen b2, knight h6 ideas anyways. So.
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Yeah. And here, the only thing I have to be careful about is my back rank. So I thought, okay, he's going to have queen a1 here. And I have to make sure I didn't just screw up. But I found that I have knight f5 in this position.
Because you put your other knight on f5 and he has no defenders of the king.
Yeah. And then minimum, I mean, there's a number of things. I could also just give check and take the pawn. And then I'm controlling b1 and e1.
Yeah.
But I have this compulsion where just because I see a safe one, I also want to find the
cool one.
Yeah, exactly. So here I can give check. And then I can take the queen at this point. But then I probably just have mate here, right? Like, is this mate? This is mate. Okay.
I hope you know that.
I saw this.
Wasn't e5 also a possibility instead of after king to f6? e5? The idea of putting your queen on g8?
But then the knight lying.
No, but the idea is I want to put my queen on g4.
Wait, so... Oh, it's queen g4. Yeah.
So, okay, right now it's protected. He puts king g6 or g5, you go there, and you can take some knight, you put g4. This is flashy.
I didn't see this mate. Very, very good. But then, okay, he realizes he's losing the rook, so after rook takes c8, you can also try b3. I thought he might try this, but...
Yeah, but you just take the other rook.
Okay,
really having fun.
He played queen a1.
Oh dear.
Now, most players, they would take the rook, and then they would just take the queen and resign.
God, what did we do?
But I was like, okay, I have that in my pocket, right?
Okay.
Why not just look for the forced mate? So check, and my favorite, knight f5.
Knight f5.
Although I don't remember which knight I used. I think I used this one.
Does it matter?
It doesn't, but I don't remember. I think I used this one. And the point is king d7 blocks the bishop, so queen takes c8 is mate. Okay. So he was a gentleman. He let me play it on the game. And we did. So, I never took the queen.
Right. That's an interesting way to conclude the game.
Yeah, I was happy. I found the mate. I got my knight to f5. And
I really like that you were able to regroup after you let black play b5, because I feel like at my level, a lot of players, once they mess that up, the trend is starting to go against their direction. But you just kind of let the game keep going. And you just outplayed them, I think, at the end.
Exactly. I felt like, at this point, queen c2. Yeah, I realized I completely screwed up, but then I also just felt like I understand this position very, very well. And I imagine every move I played after that would be, let's say, 2600 approved. As big words. So if there are any 2600s watching, I hope you comment in the game and tell me how wrong I am with some variations specifically. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Or if you're not 2600, you can use an engine and then check our analysis, because we haven't checked any of the games.
My games.
So we could have been blundering all over the place, and only way to find out is for you guys to check.
So I guess from a practical point of view, there's 2 games in the books. We've got a long-term run ahead of us left.
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that maybe you've noticed from your first 2 games that you want to improve going forward?
Let's see. I feel like my form is okay. It's not great. I haven't played it in 2 months, serious chess, but this game and the previous game, even though I didn't have to calculate some lines, I just wanted to see if I could, and I felt like my calculation was accurate when I'm sitting down and focused. The fact that I missed b5 is a sign of a bit of carelessness because I'm playing lower rated player. I already felt very good about my position. Hopefully I'm not going to miss this kind of move in future games. But yeah, round 3 is next. I'll definitely be playing up. You're likely to play up.
I think I'll be playing someone closer, not too far up, I don't think. Just because of the way that the Swiss system works, I think we'll get 2200.
22, 23, yeah. So hopefully it won't be like we won't do the next video with like 2 losses.
Yeah, that'd be disappointing. But hey, we might learn something. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think things will go pretty well. Hopefully, I won't have to figure out a position for move 6 next game. That's probably my thing.
You got some good prep.
But you're probably going to want me to find tactics at this point.
I want to see you really, take it to them.
Yeah, I mean, if they let me, of course. But I think with my game today, the simple approach.
Oh, it worked out fine. Yeah.
That's how I roll.
All right.
Well, until next time, which will probably be later today if our games don't go ridiculously long. We'll come up with a video, if not probably tomorrow morning, since the games aren't until 3 during the day. So we'll come back with our round 3 video. But until then, I hope you enjoyed this one. This is Isaac.
And Kostya. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. All right, so I'll just put